Hello and welcome back to Where Are All My Friends? This week we sit down with Regular Marcus, or RecklessG4B. He is an artist and a producer, and this is such a cool story the way this happened. I found a track of his on Soundcloud a couple of years ago and was absolutely obsessed with it. Then later on found out that he produced one of my all-time favorite Blackbear songs. We became friends online, chatted back and forth a bit, and then as the podcast grew, I just reached out and I was like, yo, we should do an episode. And I really didn't know his story at all. I just knew that he was an artist. I knew that I liked his music and he was doing cool stuff. So today is that day. We finally did the episode and his story was so cool. Like, I had a feeling, and just the person that he is behind the music, he's so authentic. His influences are so relatable. And it was a really, really cool episode because of that. And now he's early into his career and he's still had a lot of success. He's produced for Blackbear, Tinashe, Wintertime, all these artists where I'm just like, oh my God, this is just the beginning and you're already killing it. That's the intro. I want to get right into this. It was such a fun episode. I hope you enjoy it. I'm so stoked on this one because I'm legitimately a fan of yours. I found you in the depths of SoundCloud. We became friends on Instagram, and this is like a really cool one for me. So we are here with Marcus, and the reason I just say Marcus is my first question for you is, you've got a whole bunch of names that go with your artist projects or your producer projects. So
yeah.
the song that I originally found you off of was Break Dat, and the artist name on that is Reckless. You just dropped a new track called American Reject under Regular Marcus, and I feel like I've also seen Reckless Gabe. So start me off. Give me the story.
Okay. All right. So I first started when I first got into music, I was probably in 7th grade, and I was just making beats. I wasn't singing, I wasn't like writing lyrics, nothing. I was just making beats, and I used to watch. Remember the show called Robin Big and like Fantasy Factory and all that?
Dude, yes, I was obsessed.
Yeah, because I used to like skate a little bit too, so like I was always watching that show. So pretty much, I got the name Reckless because Rob's cousin Drama, he was making beats, and he was going by Drama Beats, and then he started the Young and Reckless brand.
Yeah,
and I was just and I was just like, damn, like I like the name Reckless, so I'm gonna choose that name.
Yo,
So
you and I are similar because, well, that inspired me too. The whole reason I started a podcast was I'm obsessed with his podcast, Short Story Long.
What?
So look at us. Shouts to Drama. You're inspiring people all over the world.
Shout out to Drama. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, so continue.
So that's how I got the name Reckless. So like I said, I was just making beats, and then long story short, I met this group on Facebook. I think it was through Facebook or like Twitter. And we just started making music together. I started producing for them, sending them beats and everything. It was a group of rappers called Go For Broke. Okay. And the initials are G4B.
Oh.
So yeah. So we kind of just like put the G4B at the end of all of our Twitter names and Instagram names and everything. So I kind of just like never changed my Instagram name and my Twitter name. And then people in like my city, like Portland, like this area, started to recognize me as that.
Yeah.
So like I would like respond to Reckless, I would respond to Reckless G4B, like whatever people knew me as, I would just go by it. So yeah, that's where the G4B comes in.
Bro, that's so funny. I always read it as Gabe, and I was like, what the fuck? Why is he calling himself?
Yeah. For real.
Okay, so then where does Regular Marcus come in? Because you have music under that as well.
Yeah. So Regular Marcus came in because I felt like, so I had released maybe 2 songs under Reckless, and then I was like, I just want to change my name. Like, I want to change my artist name to Regular Marcus, and I want to have my producer name as Reckless. I want to keep that the same.
Oh.
Yeah, and then we just ended up leaving that Break That song. We ended up leaving that under Reckless because like that song was already doing like so good, and well, not amazing, but like it was doing pretty good, and I don't know, I just wanted to leave it under Reckless and then start like a new wave of Regular Marcus.
Bro, okay, that
Yeah.
completely clears it up, and that makes so
Mhm.
much sense. And
Yeah,
dude, yeah,
yeah.
like, no, break that, like I mean, when did you put that song out? That was a couple years ago,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so that was a minute ago. That was 2017.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But, like and I know what you're saying because it's not like it, like, blew up and went crazy viral, but it
Yeah,
blew up
yeah.
enough where it kind of got on the radar of, like, myself and some friends, and we're like, "What is this,
Mhm.
and why is it so good?"
For real. No, I
So
appreciate that. Yeah, bro, like yeah, exactly, just like how you put it. It didn't blow up, but it definitely got people's attention and, like, it led me to people like you and a lot
yeah, it,
more.
like, medium blew up. Like, it didn't go, like, full
Yeah.
viral, but it, like, got to enough of the internet where, like, if you knew, and you're like, "Yo, this shit's fire," and it was almost like a nod of like, "Oh, you know that song? Alright, alright."
Yeah, that's fire.
Which is so funny, and that's why I'm, like, so stoked to talk to you right now because
Mhm.
I feel like normally when I do these podcasts, I have a decent idea of where somebody comes from and, all these different details. But with you, we really were just internet friends, and I'm a
Yeah.
legit just fan. And
Mhm.
since finding that song, I've seen you do all sorts of things. I've seen you release more music. Your last song is like such a nod to pop punk and rock. It's
Mhm.
crazy. So, like, as you tell me that you grew up skateboarding and all these things, I'm like, "Oh my god, I get it." But then there's
Yeah.
this whole other side of you that I'm so curious to learn because, like, I really don't even know. I know you've worked with a lot of big artists as a producer, but
Mhm.
I don't know, like, the specific songs that you've done and how that all came to be.
Yeah.
So, I legit like, this is a treat for me, and as a full-on fan, I'm excited to hear this.
Yeah. Of course, of
Um
course.
where I like to start, because I don't wanna get ahead of myself, and I'm catching myself do it because I'm so excited, but where I like to start these normally is take me back, like, as you were telling me about, like, growing up skateboarding, like, I wanna hear about that, like, where did you grow up? What were you first into? How did you first find music? Like, what were you like in those early days?
Alright, so I would say, like alright, so pretty much I grew up in Maryland.
Oh,
Um,
no shit.
yeah, yeah. So I moved around a lot, but I grew up in Maryland. I was there from birth to, like, 6th grade,
Okay.
and in between that time, that's, like, elementary school. I was just, like, a kid, and I was never really into, like, sports. Like, I would play football and, like, basketball with, like, the neighborhood kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then I never really wanted to join like a team or none of that. I was always just like I pretty much always been like on my own agenda, like on my own thing. And honestly, I think back to like the Robin Big thing, I think that's really what made me like want to skate. Like I just thought it was cool. And then I remember when I got my first skateboard, I got it from Zoomies. Like I went
Nice.
with my dad. I forget what brand it was, but we like got some deck and then I got the whole complete board. And then I was just like I used to be heavy into looking up like YouTube tutorials on how to ollie, how to kickflip and stuff like that. And
Yo.
then from there, I just like was skating every day. I wasn't amazing, but I was cool. I could ollie down like a 4 or 5 stair,
Yep.
like stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. I kind of just fell in love with like that whole like culture, I guess.
Yo, I don't know
Also,
about
also the
you.
the Tony Hawk games too, for
Oh my
sure.
god, bro, like, we are the same with that. Like, it was, like,
Yeah.
Tony Hawk Games. I never got into team sports. I never cared
Hmm.
about, like, that group side of school. I always felt like kind of an outsider, and I
Yeah,
feel
for
like
real.
just as much as skateboarding is fun as an activity, the
Hmm.
community and, like, the alternative, like, you don't have to just go follow team sports, like, that changed my life, and it teaches you, like, this whole different way to look at things. I don't know, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly. Around that time, I would probably say like 5th grade. So my dad brought home. So my dad used to. I forget where he worked, but yeah, he had this coworker who used to who make like mixtape CDs and like like burn CDs with a bunch of music on them and stuff.
Yes.
And one time he brought home a CD and it was full of rock music and like alternative. And like I had never really listened to rock because like I grew up on like R&B and hip hop and stuff. But I remember specifically so my dad gave me that CD, and then I had a CD player and like I had some headphones. I would just play that CD for like every single day straight, like nonstop, like listening to it. It was the so it was a lot of bands. I can't remember all of them, but Breaking Benjamin
Okay.
was like the first band I really got hooked
Yeah.
on, and it like introduced me to like a whole new world, I swear. And
Yeah.
then I started to just like be on YouTube and like be on the internet heavy, like
Yeah.
heavy. And then I just started finding bands on my own. Like I think I started with like Panic at the Disco and stuff like that.
Oh
And
shit.
then
Yeah.
yeah, that's like one of my favorite bands. And then I ended up like stumbling across like like screamo and like the whole like scene wave and like Attack Attack and like bands like that. And I was like,
Yeah.
damn, this is crazy. And then I don't know, I kind of just fell in love with the whole sound.
Did you ever go to like Warp Tours and shit?
So that's the thing. I never made it to Warped Tour because
No
I
way.
I know, crazy, right? I think I was just young and I just wasn't really into going to concerts like that.
Yeah.
So I think I just caught it like late, but I definitely knew about him. I always used to watch like the Warped Tour footage and all that kind of stuff.
Damn, that's so crazy to hear because we have such a
Mhm.
similar path of growing up. And I think
Mhm.
about it, and had it not been for my friends that were like, yo, we're going to Warp Tour, I probably
Yeah.
wouldn't have gone. But that
Mhm.
shit like changed my life. But it's crazy to hear your side of it where you were finding all of this on your own and learning about it through YouTube.
Mhm. Yeah,
Damn.
bro. YouTube like is the GOAT. Like YouTube changed everything, I swear.
It's so crazy. Like YouTube, if you care about something and you're passionate about it, YouTube is college. Like you can learn anything.
Bro, for real.
Damn. Okay, so you're
Yeah.
getting into like alternative music, rock, you're finding Panic at the Disco, you found like Attack Attack, that's so sick. So you're finding like screamo.
Yeah.
And at that point, are you thinking like, damn, I want to make music or what's going on?
So this was like fourth or fifth grade. I
Oh,
definitely
okay. So you're
wasn't.
still pretty young.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is
Oh,
like
got
this
it.
is like really young.
Got
So
it.
like
Okay.
like I wasn't even in sixth grade yet. I was in sixth grade like when I found Attack Attack. So like earlier was just like alternative stuff. But
Yeah.
it
Okay.
didn't it didn't make me it didn't like really make me want to make music and like I guess it did because like I used to like air drum and like play along to songs and stuff like that. So in a way, I guess it did, but I didn't start making beats until like seventh, eighth grade. So like I didn't really try it until like a little bit later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say it definitely like it kind of got me going, like got the
Yeah.
ideas rolling.
So then what happens, like, you go from listening to, like, screamo, rock music, all sorts of stuff like that, and then you
Hmm.
get to 7th, 8th grade and you're making beats. So, like, what was that
Yeah.
transition?
Um, it wasn't like a full transition because I was listening to like everything at once. Like,
Oh,
yeah, I didn't like leave the hip hop sound. Like, I was heavy on everything.
yeah.
Like a lot of music was coming out back then. Like Lil Wayne, like Meek Mill, like stuff like that. A lot of like mainstream hip hop stuff. I was into all of it at the same time.
That's so sick. And that explains now, like, I think about your music and I'm like, "Oh, I get it."
For sure. So like when, like I said, seventh or eighth grade, I can't remember exactly for sure, but I know it was around that time. Um, it's crazy. I I moved from Maryland to Arizona,
Yeah.
then I moved to Philly, which is like that's where all my family's from. Like that's where my mom, my dad, my grandparents, everybody grew up. So
Yeah.
my grandparents still live there, so they have a house. So we moved from Arizona to Philly. I actually lived there for maybe like 2.5 years. And that's when I started making beats. It's crazy. I was in the car just waiting for my mom to like finish grocery shopping, and I ended up hearing a Meek Mill song on the radio, and I heard that beat, and I was just like, "Yo, like, what are beats? Like, how do you really make them? Like, this just sounds crazy to me."
Yeah.
So I went home and I googled like I googled the producer's name, and I just found out what program he used and stuff like that. And then I ended up downloading the program, like the demo version that night.
What
I made
program
a
was it?
beat. It was FL Studio.
Yes.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It was FL Studio 9. So it was like a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then yeah, literally since that night I've been making beats just because of a Meek Mill song.
That's so
Yeah.
sick. And
That was
it
also
makes
like one of my favorite
sense.
favorite rappers at that time. Like
What year is that? That was probably like, oh, 2000.
this was 2011.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, this was definitely 2011. Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's
you
when
said
because he's from Philly, so like I was like watching him come up, and
oh,
yeah, so it was like that was like his big single. So when I heard that, I was like, damn, bro, this is crazy. So yeah, that's what really got me into like making beats. Shout out to Meek Mill.
dude, for real. And was it like a
Hmm.
feeling of, yo, if he can do it, so can I? Like he's from Philly, I live in
Hmm.
Philly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, definitely that's what it was at the time. Like I used to be like I'm still like a real fan of like everybody that I listen to, like no matter what.
Yeah.
And like back then, like being younger, I was way more of a fan. So like I used to tweet him like, yo, can't wait to work, this and that. Like,
Yes.
just like DMing people, like reaching out, just saying like just saying stuff like when you're young.
Dude, completely. But it's funny how much like that fearlessness or like that you don't have that back off to just reach out to everyone and say what up and
Hmm.
shoot a shot. And it's crazy how
Hmm.
far that'll get you.
Yeah, bro. For real.
Okay, so you hear that song, you get FL Studio, and then it's just game time.
Yeah.
And you're in
Yeah.
Philly. Are you still skating at all, or had you kinda just been like, "Yo,
So
it's full beat time"?
yeah, yeah. So I kind of stopped skating. I used to skate to school, like just to get there and back. But
Ye
like at that point, I had kind of like stopped going to skate parks. I had stopped trying to learn tricks. I was just like, it was just like a background kind of thing because like when I found beats, like
yeah,
like music, that's like all I
production.
was really focusing on.
Okay, yeah. How
Yeah.
old were you? You said it was like 7th, 8th
Yeah,
grade?
this
Yeah.
was seventh grade. So I was maybe like, I was between 13 and 14.
Damn, so you honestly started pretty damn young.
Yeah, bro. Looking back now, it's been 10 years,
That's
9 to 10 years.
crazy.
Hmm.
I feel like what is it? It's like they say 10,000 hours to master
Yeah.
something. You divide
Hmm.
that in the years and you're there. You've done it.
Yeah. I think so, bro. I'm
S
almost there, if not there.
Yeah, dog. So, okay,
Hmm.
so Philly, 7th, 8th grade. How long do you stay in Philly? You said you lived there for a couple years?
Yeah, yeah. So I was there for seventh and eighth grade, and then that summer was like the summer after eighth grade was ending. So I thought I was gonna go to high school out there, but my family, we ended up moving to Seattle.
Mm,
Yeah, so I was in Seattle for about 9 months, and then ended up in Portland, and I've been in Portland ever since.
okay. What
Hmm.
made your family move around so much? Was it just your parents finding work?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Like yeah, they just kept getting different job offers in different areas, just moving around because of that pretty much.
Yeah. I
Hmm.
always like I didn't really have that. I grew up in Florida and I was always just like up until I moved to California, I was in Florida. But
Yeah.
I wonder, like, as a kid going to school, was that hard for you to make new friends, or did that kinda, like,
Hmm.
play to your favor? Like, where you're just like, "Oh, well, I've done this a bunch of times before, so now I'm good at it."
Yeah. So it was I would say it was in my favor because I don't know, like moving around a lot, I like it wasn't hard for me to make friends.
Mhm.
I was just kind of always like not a loner, but like I was always like a quiet kid and like just always like to myself. But then when I would finally like, I guess break out of my shell, I would meet like that one cool ass person that was into the same music as me, or like that one group that like finally would meet that was just into the same stuff. So yeah, it wasn't really like hard on me, honestly. Like I would end up missing my friends from like different cities and stuff, but we had MySpace and we had Facebook, and we would
Yeah.
always just keep in touch, and then like Twitter, and that was all like coming out, and it was just easier to keep in touch with people. So
Yeah,
it
that's really
wasn't,
cool.
yeah.
And you probably learned so much from, like, all these different cultures. Like, every city
Hmm.
has a different energy, everybody has, like, a different style and everything, so the more you move, the more you were probably just like a sponge learning everything from every bit of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was. I was just taking things from each city, like mentally, like, yeah.
Damn. And then, okay, so then when did you put out your first song? Did you start dropping beats first before you ever sang or rapped on anything?
So yeah, I used to only put out beats on my SoundCloud page.
Oh shit.
Um, yeah, I would put out beats, and then I ended up doing like, it's funny. Adele has a song called Daydreamer,
Hmm.
and I ended up remixing it for this thing in my class. I forget what it was, but it was like sophomore year.
Yeah.
And I ended up remixing that, and then I was just like, all right, I'm gonna do some more remixes. So I ended up uploading a couple more remixes to my SoundCloud, and then they got like maybe like 50K plays,
Oh
stuff like
shit, that's
that.
not bad, dude.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. I was like, how? This is crazy. So then
Yeah.
when I saw that, I was like, damn, like this is possible. And yeah, so pretty much I was just making beats. I was just dropping beats and like remixes. And then so I have a homie out here in Portland named Matt Burton, and he had an extra microphone one time, and he was like, "Yo, I don't want this mic anymore. Do you want it?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So he
Oh
gave me that
shit.
mic. Yeah, yeah, he gave me that mic, and then I was like, "Dang, I got a mic. I might as well like figure out how to plug it in and buy an interface and all that, and like just mess around." And like I was always like into singing and stuff. Like I always knew I had like a cool voice. I just didn't want to be an artist. I just was focusing on producing. But then,
Interesting.
yeah, there was a talent show at my school that was coming up, and pretty much I hit up my friend Keith Canvas. I was like, "Yo, we should do a song and perform it at my school." He was like, "Yeah, like I'll do it with you if you want to do it." So we ended up doing it, and the reaction was crazy because like it was at a school assembly, so it was like 2,000 people, like 1,500 people maybe, all at one time. So
Stop.
yeah, yeah, it was
So you have
crazy.
like kids over here playing the flute, and then you come in and just drop a
Bro,
fucking banger to 2,000
exa-
kids.
no, that's like exactly what happened. People was like, playing the drums or playing the whatever instrument, and then we come out with like a background track and like two microphones, like rapping and singing. They're just
Oh
like,
my
whoa.
god.
I actually have a video of it. Like I'll send it to you too.
Please.
Bro, yeah. So yeah, we did that performance, and then bro, the song wasn't even done. It was like a 2-minute song at the time. Like I didn't even know what I was doing. I don't even know how I knew how to mix and record, but I figured it out. And then yeah, so we performed that, and then maybe like a month later the song came out, and we dropped it on SoundCloud, and everybody loved it. And
Is
we
it
just
still
been
out?
going. It's on private because bro,
Damn it.
it's trash.
I always love like when the first thing is there because every artist's like, yo, it's actually terrible, but it's
Yeah.
so fun to hear it now
Hmm.
and be like, oh.
Nah, bro. I don't think I'll ever show anybody. I'll send it to you, but like I'll never show anybody else that shit again, bro.
I feel you, dude. I feel
It's
you.
like,
But that was enough. At the time, that was enough to be like, oh shit, this could be
hmm
something.
bro, that's exactly what happened. I
Did
was
it
like,
get
yeah,
did it also get some plays on SoundCloud?
yeah. I can look later, but I'm pretty sure it got like 20K.
Okay. Yeah. So enough where
Yeah.
you're like, yo, shit, like let's keep
Hmm.
going.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely enough to keep going
I also
for
didn't
sure.
realize that Keith Canvas was such a day one because I only know him through
Hmm.
your like you and your projects. But I was
Yeah.
always just like, oh, this is sick. But I didn't know that that's like it goes that far back.
Yeah, yeah. It's been like since sophomore year, so it's been 6, 7 years maybe.
Damn,
Yeah,
dude. Okay,
ever
so
since
you
then.
you did that talent show, you start
Hmm.
uploading it, and then what?
We uploaded that song, and then we were like, okay, we got to make more. So pretty much, I say we because every song I was dropping was with Keith. Like we were pretty much like a group, but we just went by Reckless and Keith Canvas.
Got it.
Yeah, so we probably put out like three or four more songs together. Like I'm making the beat, and then both of us singing and rapping on them. And then I think we kind of like just like took a break, and then I took a little break from recording and like making my songs, and I think I was just focusing on producing. and then he went out to work with other producers and stuff like that. So we were both kind of like doing our own thing for a minute,
Yeah.
and then yeah, yeah, it just went from there.
Yeah. Okay. So I know like some of your credits, like now you've produced for
Hmm.
pretty big artists. Like, if I'm not mistaken, did you do Vicodin in Paris on
Yeah,
the Blackbear album, Cashmere News?
yeah, yeah. The Cashmere Noose EP. Yeah, I did that one.
And did you do like full production on that? Like, was that whole beat
No,
you or?
no, no.
Okay.
So I'll explain. So I started. You know that like that vocal sample like that the song starts with?
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
na,
It's like
na, na, na. Got
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like that.
it.
Yeah, it's like a kid's choir or something like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
So all right, so yeah, I found that sample. It was in like a free pack, like just on that I found on the internet. So yeah, I found that and then I made some chords. Then I just laid down like some synths. And I had some drums.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay, like this sounds fire. And then I ended up hitting up one of Blackbear's producers.
Yeah.
Um, I hit him up directly. I was like, yo, because I was at a point where I was really trying to. Blackbear was like my favorite artist at the time.
Bro, I
Like,
had a time too, like, I probably
hmm
like 2016, 17, like,
yeah,
finding him, and I was like, "This is all I care about. This is the best
bro,
thing ever."
yeah, for real. Nah, he was really like. I mean, he's still fire, but like, yeah, that was my favorite artist at the time. So it was a goal to work with him.
Yeah,
So yeah,
bro, that's huge.
yeah, bro, crazy. So I ended, yeah, like I said, I ended up hitting up one of his producers, and we were just talking back and forth. I was like, "Yo, I love your beats. Like, I'm trying to work with Bear. If I could send you some collabs, like, let me know." He was like, "Yeah, bro, of course. Like, let me just." He gave me his email, and then I sent him maybe four things, like four ideas, and Sniffing Viking in Paris was one of them,
Mhm.
and it all happened like kind of quick, honestly. Like
Dude.
he told me Bear got on the beat, and then Bear had posted like a snippet. I think it was on Instagram, and then I ended up he posted it on like his backup page or something. But I was such a fan that like I ended up like finding it somehow.
Oh, shit.
And then when I found that, I was telling everybody, I was like, "Oh shit!" Like I produced for Black Bear, like
Yo.
songs, but I don't know when it's coming out, but like I produced for him because that was the first time I produced for somebody that I really wanted to get to, you know?
Okay, I was gonna ask you that, like, what
Hmm.
was your first song, like, where you produced for somebody where it was like, "Oh, shit, this is real?"
Yeah, yeah. So it was the Black Bear song for sure.
Yo.
Hmm.
And that's another weird, crazy full circle moment because here we are growing up skateboarding, watching Robin Big, coming from these
Hmm.
similar things,
Yeah,
finding Black Bear probably similar times. And that song specifically was the
yeah.
song where I was like, I am obsessed with this artist.
What?
So, like, I'm not kidding, dude. Like, Vicodin was the song where I was like, this is it. So the fact
Yeah.
that that was you and that that was your first major piece or like your major artist that you had done something with, like my mind is
Hmm.
blown right now.
Yeah, bro. It's that's pretty crazy, honestly.
Damn. And it's crazy how much of an impact that makes, right? Like we have
Hmm.
never met like internet friends. And here I am randomly finding Breakdat, randomly hearing Vicodin and being like, I'm obsessed with this. And now
Yeah.
years later being like, oh my God, I'm talking to you. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, bro. It's wild.
So, okay, you do that. And then
Hmm.
from there, does that just open the door for even more stuff?
Yeah, it kind of did. So that song came out, and then there's a producer named Felix Snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he produced Break That. We made that together. So
Oh,
pretty,
shit.
yeah, yeah,
Cool.
yeah, yeah. I'll get to that. So pretty much, it all happened the same, like like the same month, honestly. So I had found out about the Vicodin song. I
Yeah.
found out it was coming out soon,
Yeah.
and then I get a DM on Twitter from Felix. He just like hit me up out the blue, out of nowhere, and he was like, "Let's work."
Yeah.
And he had a song that was really, really popping at the time, like on like Apple Music commercials and like Apple Watches, and
Oh,
the
shit.
song was huge. It's a song called Gold by Kiara. And
Oh, he
yeah, it
had
was at that
produced
time where
it.
it was at that time where that song was like really going off.
Oh
So like
my
when he hit
God.
me up, I was like, this is crazy because like I know who he is,
Yeah.
and this is like the first like maybe like one of the first big people to like really like reach out to me. So I was kind of shook.
Yeah.
So then yeah, we just like went back and forth on Twitter, and then I ended up flying out to LA to go work with him and just link up and talk and hang out and stuff. And then pretty much I think couple months later, he offered me a deal, and I ended up signing with him.
Oh,
Hmm.
shit. Okay. Felix Snow.
Yeah. Yeah. I ended up signing a deal with Felix Snow.
Okay, so then, like,
Hmm.
through that, like, because his shit was so poppin', like, it's honestly, to be candid, I don't fully know how that world works, like,
Hmm.
what would give him the leverage to, like, start picking up producers under him, but I know
Hmm.
that that's super common. So was it
Yeah,
just that
yeah.
he was poppin' enough and he had enough connections where he could connect other people?
Yeah, pretty much. He had done like a lot of stuff before. Like he had already had like big placements, and he has a deal with Atlantic Records, and they ended up giving him his own label.
Got it.
So he was pretty much at that time just like I guess like scouting for talent,
Yep.
and then came across me, and he didn't even just like my beats, like he liked my music. Like some of the first stuff that I think is probably like kind of trash, he was like
He was here
into
for
it,
it.
and then yeah, and he was like, "Yo, like I don't want you as just a producer. Like I want to like work with you as an artist too." And that's when Break That came about. Like
Oh my
probably like
god.
probably like 6 months later, after everything was all worked out and like all that stuff, we made Break That. I flew out to Nashville. Pretty sure.
Oh,
Yeah. So he had moved to Nashville, Tennessee at that time, and
yeah.
flew me out there, and then we just made a couple songs, and that was one of them. And we were just like, damn, like let's go, like this is fire. Let's put this out. And then yeah, that was
Yeah.
the first one we made together. And then there's an artist named Wintertime.
Bro, I am
Hmm.
obsessed with Wintertime. Do you know 93 Feet of Smoke?
Heard of the name, seen the name for sure.
Okay, so I lived with him last year and he turned me on to so much music.
Yeah.
And he showed me Wintertime and I lost my mind. Like, it's so good. And I can't believe,
Yeah,
like, I feel like Wintertime is big, but I can't believe he's not massive
bro.
because his shit is so
That's what
fucking
I. That's what,
cool.
exactly what I'm saying.
So that's, you
Like,
met Wintertime. Sorry, I get too
mhm.
excited. I'm hopping in. Tell your story.
Nah, you're good, bro. So I never met Wintertime, never talked to him at all.
Yeah.
So pretty much this how it happened. Felix was I think he flew out to New York to meet with Wintertime, and they ended up making a whole album, like a whole EP, maybe like 5 songs. And I one of my beats had ended up on there.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
What
so
song?
it's called In My Bag.
Okay, okay. I'm trying
Yeah,
to think if
yeah.
I don't know it off the title, but
Hmm. Yeah.
continue.
It's I'm pretty sure it's out everywhere, SoundCloud, like Apple Music, Spotify.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was pretty much my second. That's pretty much my second placement.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then again, I feel like that is pretty big because
Hmm.
like Wintertime is a big artist and has a
Yeah.
name. So you're
Hmm.
continuing to like build that cred.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then what?
So that happened, and then I think I was at that point. I was waiting for my deal to like go through and everything, and then I think I ended up moving to LA,
Oh,
and I had got a place out there for a while. Um, I think I was in North Hollywood,
okay. How old are
and
you
then
when
yeah,
you moved?
I was 20.
Bro, how sick
Yeah,
is that that you're 20
yeah,
years old and this is all happening and you moved to LA?
yeah, bro. It was crazy. So yeah, I had moved to LA. I had got situated out there, and then pretty sure. Oh, okay. Let me backtrack.
Yeah, yeah.
Before I moved to LA is when I did the Tinashe song.
Oh.
Yeah. So I produced a song with Felix for Tinashe.
Oh my
He
god.
I'm pretty sure you know who she is.
Yeah, dude. She's
Yeah.
what's fuck, I'm blanking on her like big song, but she's again like pretty was it
Yeah.
she has a song with Schoolboy Q, right?
Yeah, exactly. Two
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
two on.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, pretty crazy. So yeah, he had a session with her, and he called me one day. He was like, "Yo, I want you to fly out to LA. Like, come. You want to join this session? I was like, yeah, like let's go. And this was my first session with an artist like in person.
Oh
So it
shit. Were
was,
you stressing
y-
or were you like, all right, I got
bro.
this?
I can't even lie, bro. I was nervous for
Yeah.
sure.
I
Like,
mean, dude, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think anyone would be their
yeah,
first, yeah.
yeah, especially her too. Like it was crazy. So yeah, I had made some beats like for her, like in mind, just like preparing like a couple weeks before. And then I finally flew out to LA and I think so we worked 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
Ended up making two songs, but only one of them ended up coming out.
Okay, what song came out?
Yeah. It's called Stuck With Me.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
so excited to go back to all these and be like, "Oh
hmm
my god, I get it. This sounds like you."
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's called Stuck With Me. It was on her I think it was her Joyride album.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Which was no, she did that song with Schoolboy Q before that. But by that time,
That was before. Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
hmm
Cool. Tight. So you come out to LA, you do your first session in person, you get a
hmm
song with her, which is huge. I feel like that does
Yeah.
not happen with every
I
producer
know, right?
too.
Like it easily could have like not made the album, but it did. So I was like, damn, this is crazy.
Yeah.
hmm
And
So yeah, that was my third placement, pretty sure.
bro, what a
Yeah.
crazy track record that you have. Like, God,
Yeah. For real.
insane. But it's
I
cool too that
appreciate it, bro.
Felix like found you so early and helped you connect those pieces. Like, shouts to
hmm
him.
Yeah. No, definitely shout out to Felix. Especially like what we got going on like currently, where we're just like we just send stuff back and forth like almost every day. Like it's going good, man.
Okay, I was actually gonna ask that, but I was like kind
hmm
of afraid to because I hate when you ask and it's like, oh, we don't work together anymore. But like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's so cool to hear that you
hmm
clearly have a formula. You clearly make great shit and you're still doing
Yeah.
it together. That's awesome.
Yeah. No, of course. We definitely are still making stuff together. There was a point in time where I had kind of like not fell back from music, but kind of just like took a pause on my artist stuff, like my songs.
Mm,
And I guess we weren't like really talking for a little bit. It was never like bad blood or nothing, like nothing crazy like that. We just, he was just doing his thing, I was doing my thing. But then I guess a couple months ago, something just clicked, and then we just been on it like every day,
oh my
just
God, that makes
working.
me so happy as a fan
hmm
to hear that.
Yeah, for sure. And then I was able to put out American Reject, and then I got some other singles about to be lined up. Just putting some finishing touches on the songs and everything, and then yeah. So I'm pretty much doing two things at once, man. Like just making music and then just sending out loops and just like trying to get more placements and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that because I struggle with this on different sides, right? Like,
hmm
I've never been an artist. Like, I never, like, my start in music was tour managing a band. And then I worked at a
Yeah.
record label and managed artists and then started version 3 in the podcast. So I'm always like doing a billion things, but I've
hmm
never done the artist side. But do you ever struggle with that where it's like, do you go all in as an artist for yourself or do you go all in for a producer? Like, have you found a balance? Like, what's that like for you now?
hmm Honestly, I'm still working on the balance. Like I do find myself making beats and like sending out beats and stuff more than sitting down and recording my own music.
Yeah.
But I mean, there definitely is a balance, but I'm in the process of like trying to literally split like half and half, like find days where I should do this and find days where I should do that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of more like sporadic and like all over the place where I'm just like, I don't know. I just do whatever comes to mind at that time.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, as a creative, like both of those are such like an artistic
hmm
side. So it's like if you're feeling inspired to make a beat, I'd imagine you make a beat. And if you're feeling
Yeah.
inspired to make a regular Marcus song, then you're gonna make a regular Marcus song.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's pretty much like just how I work.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how it is.
Was there a spot with all of this where you're like, "Oh shit, like this is gonna be my life. Like this is real enough where I'm gonna go all in and like this is it." Because
Hmm.
obviously it's like you get to the spot of like, oh cool, college or like a job, like a 9 to 5, whatever. Like, did you have a moment where you're like, all right, this is it?
Um, think so because my first job was at a restaurant. I was just like like cleaning tables and like I was also like a front of the house host. It's like seating people and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was there probably for 2 years, and then it's crazy. I had quit. I was also working on music like every day. Like my house turned into like the studio, like where I would have people over like
Yes.
every day.
Yeah.
And like my homie was staying with me, so like he would pretty much just like hold down the house like when I wasn't there. When I like literally when I was at work, he would have people over like recording and just working on music all the time.
Yeah.
And that time was just like it was kind of like really inspiring. And I was just like, damn, like we really could do this. So like let's just do this every day. So I ended up quitting my job. I didn't even put my 2 weeks in. I kind of just like I
Mhm.
texted my boss and I was just like, hey, I don't think I could come in tomorrow. Like I really want to focus on music. Like I literally told him that. I was like, I really just want to focus on music, and yeah, I'm sorry. Like I can't work there no more. He never even texted me back. He just left me on red. It's crazy. But
Jeez.
and it's funny because yeah. So after I quit, I told my parents, I was just like, "Yo, like, give me like a couple months, like, to try to make something work."
Yeah.
And then in that couple months, Felix ended up hitting me up. So it
Bro.
was yeah. So it was like I felt like it was supposed to happen. So that was like a moment where I was really like, "Dang, this is like the perfect thing to happen right now." And
Yeah.
that's when I was really like, "Okay, yeah."
Dude, I mean, I feel it. That makes sense.
Hmm.
And, what happened so, like, now you're in Portland, I know you were in LA, it's so funny because we were originally gonna do
Yeah.
this podcast, and we were staying, like, 2 feet away from each other, didn't get to do it,
Bro,
all the
so
corona shit
close.
happened, you're back in Portland right now.
Yeah.
I guess I'm curious, like, for you, honestly, I feel like this is just the beginning, right? Like, you've
Hmm.
you've obviously had some great placements and you've produced for these incredible artists,
Yeah.
but I can't help but think that this is just the start, especially like with the magic that you and Felix have, and just like
Hmm.
you haven't even put that much music out.
Yeah, I
So
really, I really haven't.
what do you think? Like, maybe it's a little vague or a little hard to answer, but like perfect world, like what are you inspired by right now? Like, what do you want to do? What's the next couple of years look like for you?
In a perfect world, I really want to just like, I'm trying to get placements, man. I'm trying to produce for not like every artist out there, like every big artist. I
Yeah.
want to produce for like every artist that I listen to, like anybody who I'm inspired by or anybody whose music I really like.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get in the studio with them. I'm trying to send them beats, like whatever it is. I'm trying to work them.
Yeah. I
That's
love
like,
that.
yeah, that's my main goal to just get in with every artist I look up to, listen to, all
Yeah.
of
I mean,
that.
I feel like you have so much of a list left. Like, you still obviously haven't worked with Meek Mill, and that needs
Hmm.
to happen.
Yeah, definitely. I
And
can't. Yeah, I can't wait for that to happen.
bro, that's
Yeah.
cool. I love
Hmm.
to hear. It's funny because like I've had people on this podcast that are so far into their careers, and then
Yeah.
I've also had people that are at the beginning in the early days, and it's like
Hmm.
it's equally as exciting to hear an entire story as it played out and to
Yeah.
hear the very beginning where it's like this is us talking in 2020 and like who
Yeah.
knows where you are in a couple years. And that's
Yeah.
so exciting.
Exactly, bro. I feel like. Yeah. I mean, I feel like all this stuff I'm saying. I really do feel like it's gonna happen. Like I'm gonna just because it has already happened. Like I was listening to Tinashe before. Like I said, Blackbear. I was listening to him. Like Fetty Wap. I was listening to him, and then I ended up. I have a song with Fetty Wap too. It's not released. I'm like in the process of waiting to see what's happening with it. But like that's four,
That's
like three, four
huge.
checks off my list right there. So like, I just feel like their energy is there,
Yeah.
and that's all I could really do. Like, is this music and just keep pushing for, just getting in with these artists, as well as like my solo stuff and my songs. Like right now, I'm in a place where I feel like I'm getting more creative. Like you said, my last song was more like pop punk
Yeah.
inspired, and I'm just in a place where I feel like I'm more creative, and I can finally make the songs that I've always wanted to make, and all like include the stuff that I was always inspired by.
Bro, not to
So,
get cheesy, but I feel like
mhm,
people like you are so important for music right now because
mhm,
like you grew up in every different city listening to every different genre of music, just a
mhm,
melting pot of YouTube and everything. And I just
yeah,
think that like genres are going away more and more. Like that's not new news. Anybody will say that.
right,
But I don't think that it properly evolves and advances without people that genuinely are inspired by everything that are then making beats and making music that goes
mhm,
everywhere. Cause then you're going to inspire the next kid. The next kid's going to be waiting for his mom in the grocery store and hear a regular Marcus song. And it's like,
bro,
that to me, it's so important. So it's really
yeah.
cool to like hear that story and where that comes from.
For real, nah, that's cool that you say that because like I think people like this are important too. And one person that I really think was like one of the most important was Juice WRLD, bro.
Bro.
I feel like what he was doing, like the world wasn't even ready.
Yeah,
Like literally not even like ready for his full potential, bro. Like
I know.
it's crazy. So when I first heard him, that's my favorite artist. Juice
Oh
WRLD and Party
man.
Next Door.
Dude.
Yeah, Juice
Those
WRLD, Party
are
Next Door, and the 1975. I could say those are like my top three influences.
I mean, those are incredible picks, and I
Hmm.
feel you with Juice World. Like,
Yeah,
I
crazy.
remember, like, to tie it into my world, I remember him fucking with a band called Belmont, which is like a
Belmont.
full-on
Yeah,
pop punk band, and like those are the
yeah.
homies. Like, they've toured with
What?
artists that I've managed, and like that's like
Hmm.
my world. And then also seeing some of the early stuff that he was liking on SoundCloud was
Hmm.
like the kids that I worked with version 3, like Shinigami and Fatsy and 93
Yeah,
Feet of Smoke. So
yeah.
like,
Oh, that's okay. That's where I knew 93 Feet's name from that. Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Hmm.
So like I felt like he was another one where he was the perfect example of a kid that was
Bro.
inspired by every different genre and put it together so well,
Hmm.
dude.
Exactly, bro. And it's funny that you said that because the only reason I know who Belmont is because of that one post that Juice WRLD made.
No
Like when he
shit.
went, yeah, when he tagged them, I like went straight to Spotify. I was like, okay, who's this band? Now I got like hella of their songs in my phone, like just because of him.
That's so crazy. And
Hmm.
like
It's
again, like
crazy.
furthers the like that further stresses the point of like
Hmm.
when artists get into every different genre, everybody
Yeah,
grows and everybody finds new music. That's
yeah,
yeah, I feel you. Um
exactly.
I have two other questions, kind of bigger picture.
Hmm.
One, if somebody's listening to this and they feel a similar way where like they're super inspired by production or they're like trying to chase that path,
Yeah.
obviously I know that you're in some ways at the beginning of your career, but you have had success. And what would your
Hmm.
advice be to a kid, anybody, it doesn't have to be a kid, but just anybody
Yeah.
chasing that path or interested in a similar path as yours?
Man, all I could really say is like Instagram, Twitter is the best possible way to like I'm not saying it always works, but that's like the best possible way to hit somebody up. That's pretty much how I've done like everything. Like just reaching out to people.
Yeah.
You just gotta reach out and you know, don't get discouraged if somebody doesn't respond. Like maybe it just wasn't the right time, or maybe they were busy at the time or something. You know, keep hitting them up. Like keep blowing people up. Literally, just always like target. Don't just hit up any artist and be like, "Yo, I want to work. I want to work." You know, take a second and think and create targets. Like hit up people who listen to this band or people who you know listen to this artist or worked with this artist and stuff like that. I would
Yeah.
say you just gotta reach out to people and believe in yourself. And yeah.
Dude, I love that, and it's
Hmm.
actually it's interesting you say that because I think that that shift has naturally been happening,
Hmm.
but I think that on my side, having kinda worked at the labels and worked at, like, management company sort of thing, it
Yeah.
gets to be a little too formal, where it gets to be a manager emailing another manager saying, "Hey, I have an artist I'd like to work," but I certain people absolutely know it, and they would agree with you and like, "Yo, DM," but I
Yeah.
do think at the end of the day, we're all just humans and we're all just people that are interested in the same things. And if you naturally fuck with the same things and you send somebody a DM and they can tell, they're probably going to respond to you or at least notice you. And it's
bro, for
like,
real.
that's such simple advice, yet I think people almost overcomplicate things. Like we're talking right now because of a DM.
Mm-hmm.
It's
For
crazy.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I love that.
I'm not like the best advice giver in the world, like not at all. That's just like something I could say, like honestly, and something that has worked for me. Cause like I do get that question all the time. Like people are always like, yo, how can I get my beats out there? How can I do this just because I seen you do this? And I'm just like, man, I don't even know the real answer. Just going off of like, what's happened to me.
Well, I mean, I
So
guess like
yeah.
some of it is luck that these people are down and that they took a chance
Mm-hmm.
on you. But then also, you tell me in your story, some of the first remixes you uploaded to SoundCloud got 50K plays. And even
Mm-hmm.
if you don't like them now, or you go back and you're like, oh, that's embarrassing,
Yeah.
clearly there was some amount of skill or some ear for something that 50,000 other people liked.
Exactly.
So then when you are shooting your shot and DMing, maybe you don't have a name behind yourself yet, but you at least have a product and a song and like a sound where people are like, "Oh, cool, I get it." And if they like it, they like it,
Right.
which is
Exactly.
cool. The other question I have, similar lane, but and again, I know you're young in your career, but
Mm-hmm.
if you were to go back to any spot that truly felt like super hard or trying, what spot do you go back to and what advice do you give yourself now that you've gotten past it?
Mm-hmm. I would probably say the past like the past year and a half. I
Oh,
would
damn,
if
so
I yeah,
recently.
yeah, recently. If I could just go back and just focus more on learning not how to stress about like overthink things and not overstress things. Cause that's been my main problem.
Mm,
Um, like I said, I had ended up taking like a little break from like recording and stuff.
yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much what I would change.
Again, that's huge. I know it's
Hmm.
basic, but, like, I super
Yeah.
relate
No,
to
it's
that.
very, very basic, but like that's really like I feel like that's what I would do for sure.
And it's funny because
Yeah.
I found that even as I grow older, things that I had less reservation in the past, like, I didn't give a fuck as much before, and I was like, "Yeah, fuck it, I'll try it, or I'll hit this person
Yeah,
up, or it
yeah.
doesn't matter." And now as I get older, for some reason, I'll, like, stop and think more, and I'm like, "What am I doing thinking?" Just
Yeah.
do shit more.
For real.
Crazy.
Yeah. I should have just did shit, man. I was in my head way too much. Now I can honestly say like now I'm getting to like the point where like I said, I just put out a single, about to about to put out some more. So like, I'm getting to where I want to be, you know?
Bro, I'm as a fan, so excited for this next
Mhm.
wave. Like,
Yeah, bro. Thank you,
damn.
bro. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Where can everybody find you? If they haven't done the deep dive and they're not as obsessed as I am yet, where do they
Yeah, yeah,
start? Where do they find you?
for sure. So if you're just on like Spotify, Apple Music, stuff like that, you can find me at Regular Marcus. And my Instagram and my Twitter are the same name. You can find me at Reckless, RecklessS, and then the letters and numbers G4B. So yeah, at RecklessG4B.
Which is not Gabe, it's Go for
Yeah,
Broke.
yeah. It's go for broke.
So funny.
Shout out to them though. They're still doing their thing for sure.
That's
Yeah, and that's also
awesome.
my SoundCloud name, RecklessG4B.
Cool.
So yeah.
Cool, man. Well, dude,
Uh,
I thank you so much for doing this. Like, again, I'm so stoked that us just becoming friends on Instagram and DMing back and forth led to
mhm.
this. And I can't wait for you to get back to LA and actually kick it in person. But
Yeah,
this was really cool to hear your story. And I think a lot of people will relate to it, even if they hadn't known you in the past. Just like, I get it. Growing up skating, finding music, all of it. Like, it's
yeah.
cool.
Hell yeah, bro. Nah, it was real fun. I appreciate it. Like appreciate you just like being interested in everything. So yeah, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same thing as you, right? Like when you found Blackbear, like finding
Mhm.
Meat Mill, anything. It's just like oh wow, I really, really like this. And that's all
Yeah,
that
yeah.
matters. Like it doesn't matter like the size of anything. It's just like, oh, I'm super into this. I need to know more.
Facts.
So there you go, Marcus's story. I loved it. I'm legitimately just a fan of his, and being able to sit down and talk to him and learn this story was so damn cool. And I really genuinely think that this is just the beginning for him. If you like this episode, do us both a favor. For me, share the episode, tell a friend about it, rate it on Apple Podcasts, subscribe to the podcast, leave 5 stars. That helps me the absolute most. It lets me interview more people. It helps the podcast get discovered, all that good stuff. For him, go check out his music if you haven't heard it yet. Like I said, I am legitimately a huge fan of his. He has continuously leveled up. The first song that I heard from him was called Break That. We talk about it. The last song that he just put out as of right now, as I record this, was American Reject. Super pop punk influences, which is cool. It bridges a lot of gaps. I'll play a clip of it at the end of this so you can hear it. Go check his music out. Let him know that you like it. Find him on Instagram. Send him a message. That does it. I'll be back next week with another episode. Thanks for listening.
Can you fly out for the weekend? 'Cause I'm thinking we can get drunk, kick it like recess. Play the All-American Rejects. I'm in American Reject, and I don't know where we stand. We can get drunk, kick it like recess. Just go till we can't see shit. Say I'm caught. Don't wish too hard. Push me too far. If I leave in the morning, I say don't go, just stay. Maybe not, okay. She don't think I changed, that's just 'cause she let her own me. That's okay, she gon' fly out, she fly out.